I want everybody to like and share this video. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe so y'all get that bell and notification when I drop a video. Thanks to everybody that's supporting. Listen, we need to share this video. We need to get this out to the media. We need to get this out to the world, to the Instagram, the TikToks, everything. Listen, what I'm finna say is gonna be actual factual. It's gonna be the truth. And the media, nobody covers it. Nobody covers this about Kobe Bryant. Nobody covers this about the NBA. Nobody covers how great Kobe Bryant 2008 to 2010. I'm gonna reiterate that. Y'all do know Kobe averaged 30 points in the Western Conference Finals. Kobe averaged 32 points, over 5 rebounds and over 6 assists, from 50% from the field, almost 40 from the three, and 90 from the free throw line. In those 3 Western Conference Finals against the San Antonio Spurs, 07-08, you got Tim Duncan, you got David Robinson, you got Manu Ginobili, you got Tony Parker, you got Bruce Bowen. Bruce Bowen's an all-really defender. Tim Duncan is the greatest rim protector ever. He was 50, 40, 90. And then you go play against the Denver Nuggets. Averaged 34 in that series. 33. No, Kobe averaged 34 in that series. That was the 09 West Conference. And then in 010, he shot 50, 40, 90, 33 a night against the Suns. And he had Alvin Gentry call him the greatest player, the best basketball player ever. He had David Stern saying, the NBA commissioner at the time, saying, I can't believe he shot this guy. That shot that he had hit, that somebody was hanging on him, I mean literally hanging on him, was impossible. Like, how did he do that? That's the commissioner saying that. This is the commissioner of the NBA saying that about Kobe Bryant. You had Charles Barkley saying, I can't believe the shots he was making. That's the shots you want him to. I can't believe he keeps saying, I can't believe the shots he making. Reggie Miller, the best player, the best closer. Kenny Smith, those shots Kobe made, that's the shot that he works on. Everybody in agreement on how skillful and how unbelievable the shots Kobe was making against the Phoenix Suns. I would just say, I think Kobe's the best basketball player on the planet. It ain't even close at this time. That's in 2010 in the Western Conference Finals. But I'm off that. I'm off the quotes from these people. Kobe averaged 30 points a night, 5.6 rebounds, and 6 assists. From 2008 to 2010, Kobe Bryant did what Magic Johnson did his whole career. Let me reiterate that. Kobe Bryant beat more 50-win teams from 28 to 2010. What, equally the same amount. Well, he beat more Western Conference Finals opponents. He beat 8 50-win teams all through the West to 28 to 2010 than Magic did for his whole career. Magic beat all his 50-win teams, 5 of them was in the finals. He won 5 championships, 5 out of the 13. So he beat 13 teams over 50 win. So Kobe did for a 3-year stretch. He beat 8 50-win teams. Magic for his whole career beat 8 50-win teams in the Western Conference. Kobe beat 8 Western Conference 50-win teams. And through 3 years, Magic did it in 11 years. It took Magic 11 years to beat 8 50-wins, the same amount that Kobe did in a 3-year stretch. Overall, Magic did 13 50-win teams. Kobe got 25. And for that stretch, you can make an argument Kobe beat in the 2 finals he won. Magic was a 59-win team, and the Boston Celtics was a 50-win team. So that's 10 50-win teams. That's never been done. He beat 10 50-win teams in a 3-year period. Let that sink in. Magic beat 13 50-win teams in 11 years. You gotta understand, back in the 80s, the East was the best. Magic beat up on the weaker teams. It rotated, guys. In the 80s, it was the East. You had the Pistons, you had Boston, you had the I don't know how great the Knicks was, but you had Boston, you had Detroit, you had the Bulls. That was the team. I can't think of other great teams, but in the West, you had who was Magic beating? Magic ran through the West with no resistance because he had the best team. And when he got to the East, he lost 4 championships because the East was a significantly better. It's the same LeBron James approach. LeBron James, in the 2000s, during 2010 or 2008 to 2007, 2000, whatever LeBron run ended in the East, he was beating up on weaker teams. That's why he lost 6 championships because the West was significantly better. When you get to the finals and you lose more than you win, it's because you beat up on weak competition. And let me go back to the Kobe stretch. LeBron James was beating teams that was winning 37 wins. You gotta understand. Darren Williams, and Carlo Boozer, Utah teams during that stretch would have been the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. They would have been a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference, and they would have been probably competing in the finals. Matter of fact, that Utah team was better than any team. You can make a case that team was better than any team in the East besides Boston. You can make a case. But somehow they had to be the 8th seed. And LeBron James, he was beating up on the Atlanta Hawks, 35-win team, 37-win team. The Detroit Pistons, where Allen Iverson had won 37 games. Like, it's a reason. And LeBron James' first career only beat, I think, 13 50-win teams in his career. Kobe competition level, even over Michael. Michael beat 50. Because back in the 80s, early 80s, Michael was making the playoffs, winning 35 games. He was beating teams that was 37 wins. Michael beat 20. Kobe beat 25. Kobe, I think Timmy beat 18. So it's Kobe, Michael, and Timmy. Kobe had 25, 51 teams. Michael, 20. Tim Duncan, 18. Kobe faced the most competition. In the West, 2008, you had to win 50 games to make the playoffs. 2009, the Jazz made it, but they won 49. They won 48 games. There was 2 games off of 150. 2010, you had to win 50 games to be in the West. And that was the young, up-and-coming Kevin Durant. Another thing about Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant had to beat KD. Kobe Bryant this is what Kobe did in 2010. He beat KD, Westbrook, James Harden, a young James Harden, still James Harden. That's three top 75 players. Then he beat Steve, and then he had to beat Dan Williams, who was 2010. Carlo Boozer was 2010. Andrew Karanlika, and Amino Kerr. That was the Utah Jazz team. Like I said, that team would have been in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then you had to beat, this in 2010, and then you had to beat, that was a 50-win team, so that was like 54. I think the Utah Jazz won 54 games. The Thunders won 50 games. And then you had to beat the Phoenix Suns in the Western Conference. That was 50. I think they won 54, 55 games. I think they won 54, 55. Notice all those teams was separated about 1 or 2 game difference for seeding. I think Phoenix won the same amount of games as Utah. I think Utah won 53 games and Phoenix won 54. And they were separated about 1 or 2 games by seeding. That's how hard the West was, and Kobe ran through them. So he had to be Steve Nash, Morris Stoudemire, Grant Hill, all these Hall of Famers. Then you had to go to beat 3 top 75 players in the finals. Nobody did that. No Michael Jordan. Because Michael Jordan couldn't beat the Larry Bird Celtics. He couldn't run through the Larry Bird Celtics. He couldn't run through Detroit Pistons. He couldn't do that. He never beat Larry Bird. He never beat Magic and Kareem. He beat just Magic. He never did that. Think about that run I just laid out for y'all. Kobe had to beat a 50-win Thunder team with Kevin Durant, Westbrook, James Harden, and then he had to beat Dan Williams, Carlos Boozer, and then he had to beat Steve Nash, Grant Hill, Amari Stoudemire, Jason Richardson, Robert Lopez, Channing Frye, and then he had to go to the finals to beat Rajon Rondo, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, and Tony Allen. That's who he had to face. And they had Rasheed Wallace on that team, the Boston Celtics. It's not, bro. It's levels to this. Even Michael got to fall a step back, bro. Michael got to fall a step back. You had to beat Kevin Durant. You had to go beat Kevin Durant and 3 times to win the championship. You had to go beat 4 Hall of Famers to win it. You had to go beat Steve Nash, Grant Hill, Morrison to win the championship. This notion, this shit is like the biggest thing ever. And they go to 29. What do you have to do to win the championship? The 29 championship, even, bro. You had to in the first round. Who you had to face in the first round? Oh, that year, the first round. Utah Jazz. Dan Williams, 2010. Carlo Boozer, 2010. They won 48 games that year. Then you had to go. That was the least team he had to beat through that one, 41 team. And then you had to beat the Houston Rockets without Andrew Bynum. Remind you, without Andrew Bynum. No Andrew Bynum. Just Paul Gasol. You had to beat that team Well, Yao Ming, because Yao Ming did get hurt in that series after Game 3. And T-Mac was already done for the series. I mean, for the season. He got hurt early on in the season, so it wasn't. That Rocket team was the Rockets team. You forgot Kyle Lowry's on that Rocket team. So the Rockets won 53 games that year. So you got Yao Ming, Luis Scola, Aaron Brooks, Kyle Lowry, Ron Artest, and Shane Battier. I'm going to focus on them two names, Shane Battier and Ron Artest. That 2009 Rockets team beat that LeBron team's bad. They didn't even make it to the semifinals. Well, they probably the matchups would have been different. The Houston Rockets are better than any team in the 2009 Eastern Conference, not named Orlando Magic. Kobe had to run through Shane Battier, Ron Artest in the same series. He had to take, and he averaged 30 a night. Think about that. Y'all mean a 7-footer, Kyle Lowry, who's probably a Hall of Famer. We forget Kyle Lowry was on that Houston Rockets team. We forget Kyle Lowry was on that Houston Rockets team. And he's a champion with the Toronto Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals again this year. He probably will be a Hall of Famer. I think his resume is going to speak. He is a Hall of Famer. He's a multiple-time All-Star. Made a defensive team, all-defensive team selection. Kyle Lowry was on that team with Aaron Brooks, and that was a time when the Lakers was having trouble, and Kobe had to guard the smaller guards because Derek Fisher was older, and he couldn't stay in front of the smaller guards. So that was the time, and that's when you see in 2010, it was so big of a matchup. Westbrook was a nightmare problem for the Lakers because Kobe had to guard him because they weren't athletic enough. They had the Twin Towers, Bynum, Gasol, and Lamar Odom, but you can tell that that was the end of their run because the NBA was changing and it was guard heavy, and Kobe had to guard all those guards. He had to guard the Chris Paul. He had to guard the Ty Lawsons. That was in 2011. He had to guard Chris Paul. He had to guard the Tony Parker. He had to guard all these. He had to guard the Rajon Rondo because, and that's another thing what Kobe had to do. Kobe had to guard the best player, point guard. He had to guard the point guard. Usually at that time was pretty much an all-star point guard level. Steve Nash, Tony Parker, Rajon Rondo, Russell Westbrook. Kobe had to guard. Listen, in 2010, let's think about the defense side. He had to guard Russell Westbrook. He had to guard Russell Westbrook in the first round. The second round, he didn't really too much guard Darren Williams that much, but he had to switch on Darren Williams, and then he had to switch on Steve Nash, and then he had to guard Rajon Rondo. There's levels to this. Even Mike got to take a step back. Mike had to take a step back. That's why I have Kobe as the best player, greatest player, stat-wise and legacy-wise. That's Michael. Best player, Kobe finna gets the best competition. Bro, Kobe faced everybody. Kobe faced the most top 75 players ever. Kobe is the only player in NBA history. Kobe probably beat the most top 75 players in the playoffs ever, too. Let that sink in. Kobe beat the most top 75 players in the playoffs. Overall, in playoffs, regular season, overall, he played against the most top 75 players. He had to beat Kevin Durant. He had to beat James Harden. He had to beat Westbrook. He had to beat Chris Paul. He had to beat Steve Nash. He had to beat Jason Kidd. He had to beat Tim Duncan. He had to beat Dave Robinson. He had to beat Carmelo Anthony. He had to beat Allen Iverson. And I didn't bring up, he had to, Chauncey Billups. He had to beat AI and Melo, a 50-win team, and swept them and dominated the shit out of them. That was in 2008. He swept them. Then he came back in the Western Conference Finals against Chauncey and Melo, who going to be 2 Hall of Famers. Chauncey will be Hall of Fame. I forgot to bring it up. So we had to beat Melo, beat Allen Iverson twice in the playoff. Top 75 player. Melo, top 75 player. Beat him twice. Tim Duncan and Tim Duncan beat them twice in the playoff. Tim Duncan beat Tim Duncan 4 times. Top 75 player. Beat who was the top 75? Of course, I said Westbrook, Kevin Durant, James Harden. That's all top 75. Reggie Miller, top 75 player. Beat him. Beat KG, top 75. Paul Pierce, top 75. Ray Allen, top 75. I mean, come on, we can go down and list how many top 75 players Kobe Bryant beat. Michael and LeBron, Michael Jordan cannot compete with Kobe's resume. And then he averaged 30.5 and 6. Don't forget about that. And had to guard the point guards all through that 2008-2010 run. And he did what Magic Johnson didn't do. And then somehow they bring up Kobe had to need Shaq. No, Magic needed Kareem. Magic needed Kareem. Magic was beating up on them sorry ass. We can't even name the teams he was beating in the West. We can't even name the players. He was beating in the Western Conference to get to the finals. But somehow they bring up Kobe needed Shaq, but never bring up Magic needed Kareem. You see how that works? You see how the media and Kobe had to beat more competition than all of them, especially Magic. Kobe did what Magic did in 3 years altogether. Like you got to think about it. Kobe Bryant. Like Zach Lowe said this about Steph Curry. Steph Curry, because I'm gonna talk about that too. He say in the next 4 years, Steph stay healthy, he's gonna join 25,000 points and a 6,000 assists crew. That's gonna be Kobe Bryant, Oscar Robertson, LeBron James, and Kobe Bryant. We forgot about Kobe Bryant and LeBron James, the only two players in NBA history right now that have 30,000 points and 6,000 assists. But somehow we still bring on Michael Jordan and all the stuff he did. We forget that Kobe Bryant. Is a. That's a lot of shit Kobe Bryant did better than Michael. He's a better ball handler. He's a better shooter. He's a better free throw shooter. He had to face and guard better competition, so what makes him, to me, the better overall, the best player. He had to guard Kevin Durant. He had to guard Melo. He had to guard Allen Iverson. He had to guard people that Michael dreamed to want to play. Kobe guarded and played against players that Michael dreamed to want to play. Imagine you had to take turns guarding. Listen, this is what Kobe had to do, especially in the 2011 time, and he lost that series. He had to take turns guarding Kevin Durant, Westbrook, and James Harden. Can you imagine Michael? Michael never did no shit like that. He had to take turns guarding Kevin Durant, Westbrook, and James Harden, all on the same team. That's Kobe Bryant. That's something for y'all media ass. Bring that up. Bring that up. Like I said, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James, the only two players in history who have 30,000 points, 6,000 assists. So much for Kobe can't pass. He got more assists for his career than Michael. We don't talk about stuff that Kobe does better than Michael. We don't talk about how Kobe got the most 60-point games ever. We don't talk about how Kobe scored 50 points in 4 straight games. We don't talk about how Kobe shot a better percentage from 3. We don't talk about how Kobe got more all-team selection. We don't talk about how Kobe competition level beat the most 51 team. We don't talk about how Kobe scored 81 points a game. We don't talk about how Kobe outscored the Western Conference champions, Dallas Mavericks, 62 points to 61 points, all by himself. That shit never been happening in NBA history. Right along off that, Kobe should be submitted as better than anybody. When you outscore a team that won the Western Conference championship by yourself through 3 quarters, and nobody else have done it in the history of basketball, you're submitted. We don't talk about how Michael Jordan never made more than 6 threes in the game. Kobe got it 4 times. Kobe on the list with Steph Curry, James Harden, Dame Lillard, and J.R. Smith. Kobe's top 5 in the most made threes, making 9 threes or more in 4 games. LeBron James had no such. We don't talk about those things at all. We don't talk about those things at all. All that shit matters when we talk about GOAT debates. All that shit's matter. Oh yeah, I'm on fire today. This video lasting long. I'm on fire today. We don't talk about none of that shit. Anything I need to run about, and let me know if I missed anything. We don't talk about Kobe Bryant enough. We don't put enough respect on his name. We don't talk about it enough. Let me know if I missed something. Yeah, I'm on it today. We don't talk about it enough. I want y'all to like, subscribe.